รายการประจำชุดวิชา 11304 ภาษาอังกฤษสำหรับเจ้าหน้าที่สำนักงาน English for Office Staff สาขาวิชาศิลปศาสตร์ มหาวิทยาลัยสุโขทัยธรรมาธิราช แผ่นที่ 8
Activity 25. Substitute the underlined words with the words given. Then check your answer with the tape. According to your flight schedule, your plane leaves Bangkok at 3:40 p.m. and arrives in Singapore at 4:26.
1. Bangkok, Hong Kong.
According to your flight schedule, your plane leaves Bangkok at 3:40 p.m. and arrives in Hong Kong at 4:26.
2. Singapore, Manila.
According to your flight schedule, your plane leaves Singapore at 3:40 p.m. and arrives in Manila at 4:26.
3. Manila, Bangkok.
According to your flight schedule, your plane leaves Manila at 3:40 p.m. and arrives in Bangkok at 4:26.
4. Bangkok, Phnom Penh.
According to your flight schedule, your plane leaves Bangkok at 3:40 p.m. and arrives in Phnom Penh at 4:26.
5. Vientiane, Bangkok.
According to your flight schedule, your plane leaves Vientiane at 3:40 p.m. and arrives in Bangkok at 4:26. Activity 26. Listen to the tape, then substitute the underlined words with the words given, and check your answer with the tape. Can I talk to you about a few items on your trip's itinerary, Mr. Wright?
1. The flight schedule.
Can I talk to you about the flight schedule, Mr. Wright?
2. Hotel reservation.
Can I talk to you about the hotel reservations, Mr. Wright?
3. Your charge account number.
Can I talk to you about your charge account number, Mr. Wright?
4. Transportation cost.
Can I talk to you about the transportation cost, Mr. Wright?
5. Taxi service in Singapore.
Can I talk to you about the taxi service in Singapore, Mr. Wright? Activity 30. Listen to the dialogue on the tape, then fill in the missing words in the blanks. Hello, Korean Airlines ticketing. May I help you?
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations for a round-trip ticket from Bangkok to Singapore.
Your last name, please.
That's for Mr. Wright. W-R-I-G-H-T.
And his first name?
Peter.
Do you have a reservation number?
RLGBA6.
RLGBA6. Let's see now. That's KE6312 to Singapore on August 2nd, leaving at 3:40 p.m. and arriving at 4:26 p.m.
That's right.
Okay, all confirmed. Please be at the airport at least 2 hours in advance, since this is an international flight, and you'll need to pass through customs.
I understand. Is it possible to confirm Mr. Wright's return flight reservations right now?
I'm sorry, but return flight confirmation must be done at our Singapore office, no later than 24 hours before the flight.
I understand. Thank you for your assistance.
Thank you for using Korean Air. Activity 31. Substitute the underlined words with the words given. Listen to the tape, then respond, and check your answer with the tape. Example: To Singapore.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to Singapore.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to Singapore.
1. To Hong Kong.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to Hong Kong.
2. To Los Angeles.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to Los Angeles.
3. To New York.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to New York.
4. To Tokyo.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to Tokyo.
5. To Singapore.
Yes, I'd like to confirm my flight reservations to Singapore. Activity 33. Substitute the underlined words with the words given. Listen to the model on the tape, then respond, and check your answers with the tape. Example: Flight TG921 to Singapore.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG921 to Singapore.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG921 to Singapore.
1. Flight TG922 to Bangkok.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG922 to Bangkok.
2. Flight TG601 to Tokyo.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG601 to Tokyo.
3. Flight TG102 to Manila.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG102 to Manila.
4. Flight TG602 to Hong Kong.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG602 to Hong Kong.
5. Flight TG603 to Kuala Lumpur.
Yes, I'd like to check the departure time of flight TG603 to Kuala Lumpur. Activity 34. Listen to the dialogue on the tape, then fill in the missing words.
So, tomorrow's the day, huh, Peter?
Yes, it is. I hope I remembered everything.
You have your business cards and promotional materials about SCC plastics, don't you?
Yes, yes.
And a suitcase full of dark suits and freshly pressed shirts?
I'm picking the suits and shirts up at the cleaners this afternoon.
How about your personal items? Some casual clothing, your shaving kit?
Yes, I have them already.
How about your briefcase, along with some pens and paper?
It's all ready.
Your passport?
It's right here in my pocket.
What is it then?
I just don't know. My briefcase, my passport, my...
How about your plane ticket?
That's it. I forgot my plane ticket. It's still on my desk.
Unit 9, Meetings and Discussions. Activity 1. Listen to the whole dialogue and fill in what you hear from the tape. Dongta Sangman Ni is a junior secretary at Sukhothai Trading Company. She is helping Anne Baxter, an executive secretary to Mr. William Johnson, the managing director, to set up a monthly executive meeting.
Anne, could you help me? I'd like to make sure I've got everything ready for the upcoming meeting.
Of course. I think we should go over everything from the very beginning. First, have you checked the arrangements for the meeting?
Yes, I have done that. I sent out all the memos and the agenda last week.
That's good. It's necessary to distribute information in advance to those who are going to attend the meeting so that they can study it before coming. What else?
I'm going to call everyone this afternoon and confirm the time and the place of the meeting.
Good. If I were you, I would remind them tactfully. You should not imply that the person you're reminding will forget about the meeting.
I'll keep that in mind.
Next, what about the meeting room? I would suggest that you check all materials. They should be properly arranged, and make sure the meeting room is ready. It's also nice to check if the room has been cleaned and the proper number of seats are provided. And even the room temperature should be comfortable. This may seem unimportant, but actually it's very important for a successful meeting.
Then I should check the whiteboard, pens, and overhead projector too, right?
That's right. Often you'll find that the pens are all dry. This should not happen if you're a professional secretary. Oh, and another thing, about telephone calls for the executives. You ought to take whatever steps you can to prevent unnecessary interruptions during the meeting.
What should I do if it is urgent?
Tell the person who takes the call to take a note into the meeting room quietly, without knocking, and give it to the person concerned.
Activity 3. Listen for stress and repeat after the tape. A. 3-syllable words.
1. Director. 2. Arrangement. 3. Projector. 4. Tactfully. 5. Properly. 6. Important. 7. Upcoming. 8. Reminding.
B. 4-syllable words.
1. Professional. 2. Interruption. 3. Temperature. 4. Necessary. 5. Everything. 6. Executive. 7. Secretary.
Activity 4. Repeat after the tape. Pay attention to the intonation.
1. I sent out all the memos and the agenda last week. Last week. All the memos and the agenda. I sent out. I sent out all the memos and the agenda last week. 2. I think we should go over everything from the very beginning. From the very beginning. Go over everything. I think we should. I think we should go over everything from the very beginning. 3. I'd like to make sure I've got everything ready for the upcoming meeting. For the upcoming meeting. I've got everything ready. I'd like to make sure. I'd like to make sure I've got everything ready for the upcoming meeting.
Activity 5. Fill in the blanks with the appropriate phrases using the Thai guidelines. Then fill in what you hear from the tape.
I'd like to make sure all the papers are ready for the meeting.
Well, you need to check if the copies of Kun Wiwat's report are ready.
I should call Kun Wiwat's secretary then.
That's a good idea. What about Mr. O'Connor's report? Make sure you've got it.
Yes.
And it's necessary to use the video monitor this time, so please don't forget to tell the technician. You ought to tell him in advance.
What should I do if I can't make notes in the meeting?
Then you'd better record the meeting then.
That sounds like a good idea. How come I didn't think of that? I better get a tape recorder then.
Activity 9. Read the following dialogue and try to fill in the blanks with your own words. Then listen to the whole dialogue and answer the questions in Activity 10. Mr. William Johnson, the Managing Director, is talking to Anne Baxter about setting up an agenda for the next meeting.
Anne, could you set up an agenda for the next executive meeting on Thursday morning?
Of course, sir. But you've an appointment with Mr. Katsumi Fukumura from Japan then, sir.
Make it Friday morning then.
What about the agenda, sir?
First, sales promotion, report from Kun Wiwat, the marketing and advertising manager. I'd also like Mr. Smith, our consultant, to be there too. Second, participation in Thailand Expo. And third, the computer training course for sales representatives.
Oh, and will this be in the conference room on Friday at 9 a.m.?
Yes, that's right. Activity 17. Read the background and agenda and read the questions for each section. Try to guess the answers to the questions, then listen to each section of the dialogue. Background. Mr. William Johnson, the Managing Director, is chairing a monthly executive board meeting. Here are those who are attending the meeting. Mr. Larry O'Connor, Production Manager, Mr. Wiwat Tamaseri, Marketing and Advertising Manager, Mr. Surya Pitikun, Personnel Manager, Ms. Orawan Ponsirikun, Accounting Manager, Anne Baxter, Executive Secretary, and her assistant, Duangta Sangmani. Tape script A. Right, let's get started. Anne, are there any announcements to make?
Yes. Mr. Surachai Wangsawang can't come today. He's up in Chiang Mai on a market survey tour.
Okay. Now let's look at the minutes of the last meeting. Any corrections? No? The minutes are approved then. How about matters arising from the last minutes? There are none. Tape script B. Duangta? Note that down too. Now let's move on to the items to be discussed today. Item 4. Report on the sales promotion. Kunwiwat, you must have something to say.
Yes, our department launched a sales promotion for the first 3 months of the year. It turned out to be quite a success.
So sales did meet the target.
Yes.
Very good. Tape script C. Now, item 5. Kun Syria, perhaps you'd like to give us the information about the computer training course for our sales representatives.
Kun Apisit is going to explain the proposal, sir.
Okay, go ahead, Kun Apisit. Tape script D.
As you know, the sales representatives have to keep track of the stock and write orders. If they're able to use a computer, it'll set up a system of information. Then it'll be easy for them to write their orders and keep track of the stock at all times.
Do you have something to say, Kun Wiwat?
I completely agree with this. All transactions like this should be computerized.
Tape script E.
Mr. President, may I say something?
Go ahead, Kun Orawan.
I don't quite agree with that. The sales representatives have to take courses in English. If they are going to be trained in computers this year, they will contribute less time to the company. They should take the responsibility of studying on their own.
It wouldn't take much time, less than a week, and there would be a long-term benefit.
I still don't agree. They don't need much knowledge about computers. It could be done at night.
I see your point, but I think the company should pay for the training. Besides, they will make up for it later in productivity and efficiency. Kun Wiwat, could you draft your proposal in terms of when and how much for the next meeting? We'll discuss the details later.
I'll be glad to, sir.
Tape script F. Is there any other business? No? Let's call it a day then. So Anne, could you set up a date for the next meeting?
Friday, 15th of April at 9 a.m. seems to be the best time for everybody.
Okay. The next meeting is on Friday, 15 April, 9 a.m. The meeting is closed then.
Activity 19. Listen to the tape and check the purpose of the statements.
1. Right, let's get started. 2. The main objective of our meeting is... 3. Let's move on. 4. I've called this meeting first to... 5. Would you like to comment here? 6. Shall we start? 7. Perhaps we'd better get down to business. 8. Perhaps you'd better explain.
Activity 21. Listen to the following statements and check if the speaker agrees or disagrees with the other person.
1. I think we should promote our new product in March.
I think so too.
2. In my opinion, computer training is very useful.
That's a good idea.
3. Our company should attend Thailand Expo.
I couldn't agree more.
4. I think we should give a 30% discount during the New Year's sale.
I'm afraid I can't agree with that.
5. Our company should support training on computers.
I'm of the same opinion.
Activity 31. Ann Baxter and Duangta Sangmani listen to the discussion. Read the questions once first. Try to think of the answers while you listen to each section. Tape script A. Okay, let's begin. First of all, apologies for absence from Kitty Tirirak, who's at the Japan Trade Fair. I've called this meeting firstly to discuss the union's request for a raise, and secondly, to discuss the budget for the USA study tour of our agents. The first item, Kun Surya, could you put us in the picture? Tape script B.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Johnson. I was approached by a representative of our union demanding a raise. I don't think we should give it to them.
Well, this morning I also spent 3 hours with the union. Basically, they want the same raise as our administrative staff. They resent the fact that they have such low pay, and the company has not raised their salaries for 2 years.
But you see, we give them a lot of fringe benefits, such as loans for housing and their children's education fees.
I agree with Kun Surya. We should not give a raise. Those fringe benefits do cost a huge sum of money.
I'm of a different opinion. I think, first, the economic situation is getting real bad. Secondly, it would encourage productivity.
What's your view on this, Kun Wiwat?
I quite disagree that we should give them a raise. They have many fringe benefits. We should explain this to them.
Tape script C. And are you sure they won't strike if they don't get a raise?
We have to talk to them some more, sir, to get more information. So far, they have not stated clearly everything they want.
Then could you get all that information in detail, and we'll discuss this again the day after tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Activity 35. Listen to the following statements and note down the gist. Use abbreviations and signs. After that, read the tape script and check your answers.
1. This year's budget for advertising is equal to last year's. 2. We won't give a raise because of an insufficient budget. 3. Our factory is too small to accommodate such a big order. Therefore, we should build another building. 4. You have to realize that the Champion Trading Company is bigger than the Sukhothai Trading Company. 5. There are 3 keys to give an effective presentation. They are preparation, presentation techniques, and audiovisual aids.
Activity 36. Usually when you take notes, you have to understand the central idea. Read the right column in each item first, then listen to the following parts of how to present information effectively and choose the correct central idea.
1. In giving an effective presentation, good preparation is essential. You have to know the audience, know the subject, and know the specific objectives. People who prepare like this will succeed in giving a presentation. 2. You should list all the things you could present that could lead to the objective, such as general information, research theory, examples, personal experience, and ideas of others, such as authors and experts. In other words, list all the things you could say on the subject. 3. You should consider what audiovisual aids you can use to help you present your material. Remember that people usually understand better if they can see as well as hear. 4. You should prepare an outline as detailed as you need to present it effectively. This would vary from a complete script to a mental outline. I wouldn't recommend a mental outline unless you're a most experienced speaker.
Activity 37. Listen to the following short excerpt and fill in the blanks.
Minutes of a formal meeting must be accurate and complete, although not necessarily verbatim. There are 5 things you should remember when taking the minutes. First, prepare a seating chart to help you identify speakers during the meeting. Second, have a copy of the agenda and other documents handy in case you need to check facts and figures. Third, summarize general discussions, but record resolutions, amendments, important statements, decisions, and conclusions. Fourth, record the name of each person who makes or seconds a motion, or who proposes any action or opinion. Last, signal the chairperson if you miss anything or want any additional information.